Now, joining us here is the Times columnist, Matthew Parris, and commentator Ayesha Hazarika. Matthew Parris, where on earth are we? I mean, I know we're here on Westminster Green, but do we know anything else for certainty?
No, we're in a hell of a mess, and it's not clear there's any version of Brexit that could get past Parliament, but we have a breathing space for the summer now. The government squeaked through that trade bill division, and probably nothing much will happen except a lot of sabre rattling over the next couple of months.
That, in fact, if anybody wants to deliver anything about Brexit, is pretty alarming, Ayesha, not least because Parliament was going to, in fact, wrap itself up this week. You would have thought that, given that we've wasted so much time getting to this point, with only 9 months to go, we ought to be hard at work.
Well, I think the public will look at what's happening right here behind us with just, shock and dismay. These are the people we're meant to, shirt sleeves up, let's strain every sinew to get everything sorted out, and we're nowhere near that. And I think as more clarity comes about Brexit, we realise it's proving to be, I think, impossible. I think there's a political impasse now. And I wasn't keen on the idea of a second referendum, but I sort of think this is the only way you're going to unblock this political kind of logjam that we've got to now.
Matthew?
It isn't laziness and it isn't incompetence by MPs, ministers or anybody else. It's just that there are different versions of Brexit in different people's minds, and they simply can't agree which, and that there is therefore no majority for one version or another. And the second problem is that an idea of Brexit was sold by the Leave campaign, which is simply not deliverable. And it's all very well saying it's the will of the people, but the people could will that pigs could fly, but they can't fly, and the Brexit they wanted can't be delivered.
But aren't these therefore the circumstances in which you would say this is such an emergency, and that I don't think is an overstatement. I mean, of course, the Taoiseach, as I reported, actually thinks that we will crash out. I mean, if that is the case, should not people be saying goodbye to the beach and stick at it now and work it out for the next 3 months and come back with a solution?
I would agree with you, but that is, again, that's a pragmatic approach, but throw in politics into it and it's a whole different category, because in a way, if you're the Labour Party, why do you want to go in and help Theresa May in any way? Because this is sort of her problem. If you're Theresa May winning that vote by the skin of your teeth last night, that was a sort of stay of execution. She's hoping that now we'll go into the summer recess, the heat will subside from this issue and it will just buy her some more time. Remember, we've had a hot couple of weeks, tempers are all up. They're waiting for the kind of blood to go down, but that doesn't solve the bigger issue of what is going to happen with the details of Brexit and how are we going to take it to the EU.
Well, tell me something, Matthew. You know about all these things and how they all work. Are there, in fact, clever diplomats, clever people below the surface actually doing the negotiation now, and they'll come back to the politicians and say, look, here's a way forward?
Well, they have. They have, and it's something like the Chequers agreement. The Chequers agreement won't stand as it is, but it's a beginning. That's what the clever people have come up with. And it's all very well to say MP should stay, but if the people have voted for pigs to fly, there's not a lot of point in asking MPs to stay behind at Westminster and work out how pigs are going to fly, because they aren't.
As we know that pigs don't fly and can't fly, effectively, Matthew seems to be saying this is a forlorn enterprise.
Well, it does feel like we are in a genuine political crisis over this, because it is stuck. And today, Boris Johnson, in his resignation speech, sort of indicated, look, he might do things differently. We must have courage. We must have passion. That's not the solution to this. It is, as Danny Dyer said, a mad riddle.
OK, well, what about government of national unity to get us out of all this?
I don't think you need to go as far as that. I think you just need sensible people in the Conservative Party, which is a majority of them, and sensible people in the Labour Party, which is a majority of them, to talk about cooperating. But that would require the Conservative Party to rely for support on the Labour Party, and that would take leadership. And Tories don't like that kind of thing, but they must understand that this is in the national interest.
Matthew Parris, Ayesha, thank you both very warmly indeed.